Jesse, I want to start with you and ask just a little bit about the journey of kind of getting Thieves Highway made. I mean, I know you didn't write the script for this one, but you did direct it. What kind of spoke to you about the story about Thieves Highway and made you want to direct it? And what did that process of kind of bringing this movie to life look like?
Try and encapsulate it because I know we have limited time. So the script was written by a fellow called Travis Mills, who I was working with in Hungary on a TV show. He was producing it, and he told me a little bit about this subject matter that he was very passionate about. He had a friend, J.D. Pepper, who gets the co-writer credit, who I believe was an Arizona cattle ranger, who was very familiar with uh, this problem that's taking place. And I'm always drawn to scripts that are written by people that have a real world experience with what they're writing about. It feels authentic. There's something for me to get my teeth into. And I feel if I can do that, the actors that I like to collaborate with are going to read it and go, oh my gosh, this is something I can get my teeth into. This is a real human being dealing with an issue that's happening out there. There's little details in there that only someone that lived that life could put into the script. You know, script writers are wonderful, imaginative people, and they do a lot of research. They watch a lot of YouTube interviews. But this guy had driven, you know, the miles in Arizona from ranch to ranch. He'd done it. So there were little pieces, little tiny bits of action, little description, little anecdotal motifs that could only come from someone who had lived that life. And that I found very exciting. And as I read it, I noticed that the lead character was also an old fashioned sort of leading man with this calibrated sort of morality and sense of purpose that's rare, and I like that, and I know that Aaron is drawn to those sort of characters as well. Speaking for him, which I shouldn't do, but I like them as well, and I like that as the central motif, and from there, you know, the action and everything played off that. But ideally, you have a script that feels like it tells a story that's familiar to an audience, but in a different way. And that's what I took away from this script. That's why it appealed, and that's why I took it, optioned it with my own cash, which I don't usually do, and ran with it and tried to find financing. You know.
Sure, totally, totally. I love it. And I have a follow-up question to that. But first, I want to go to you, Aaron, because Aaron, I'm such a fan of your work. I have to say that I love Battle of Los Angeles so much, and it's a shame we don't have like five sequels by now. But can you tell me just a little bit about the process of being cast in Thieves Highway and kind of what made you want to be a part of this project? What was kind of the most intriguing aspect that kind of stood out to you and made you say, "Yeah, I want to get on board with this"?
Well, Jesse and I had made a movie called Chief of Station. We did in Hungary, I think a year or two before that. And as he said, he got the script and asked me to do it with him. And I loved it. I loved the idea that it was a small, contained story about the American West, about this idea of cattle wrestling and lawman. You know, it's an iconic, archetypical subject matter. I like that, a guy who uh, has a moral code, and you know, maybe sometimes has to break that moral code in order to find justice and to punish people, which is an interesting concept. And so I like Jesse, working with Jesse as a director, because he's got passion. He is loves movies, loves movie making. I don't love movie making as much as Jesse does. Jesse, you know, if you ask me on the set, do you love doing this? I'm like, oh, I'm not sure. Jesse loves making movies and knows everything about movies, and so it's a good collaboration, because I like to look at my directors and know that they will do whatever they have to make the movie. Because I feel that I'm that way as an actor. You know, I'll do whatever it takes to get it done and get it done to the best of our abilities. And so I think it's a good collaboration.
Oh, sure. Totally, totally. And that jumps into what I wanted to ask both of you next, because I know that you guys have collaborated before on Chief of Station. So I just kind of wanted to ask about that relationship as like artistic collaborators. Like, since you already had the one movie under your belt, what was it like kind of reuniting for this project? And did you find that like your working dynamic had changed at all? Like, were you guys more comfortable together this time around?
So I am just thrilled to be able to work with Aaron, and I think the dynamic was a little bit more familiar, but not much. Aaron's very, very easy to work with. As leading men goes, leading actors go, he's very low maintenance. He travels himself to set. He's there early, ready to go. The onus is on me to keep making the work better and to put in as much, of myself as he's putting into the character, and that's good. That keeps you on your toes, and I don't think much has changed in that on that degree. We'll continue to push each other. He certainly pushes me. I don't think I push him actually, but he pushes me really, really to be the best I possibly can, and I love that. That's the kind of collaborator you want in any kind of endeavor, and it's exciting. My work, I'm very proud of that I look back on and that I've done with him, and it's like wow, and it's because you have a co-conspirator out there in the dirt, in the water, in the mud, in the heat. God, it was hot when we were filming this thing. It was like a sauna every day as you stepped out of the trailer. It was just swept over you, and we're doing action in that. You're not a party who's not sweating and falling over in the rough. We were dealing with one set where on the wide angle shot where they're stilling the cows, it was almost a mile, and from right frame to left frame. This is a big canvas, for a small movie. We shot in 12 days. This is quite a challenge, logistically, and you can only do that. You can only pull it off if you have a partner in your leading man, and when you have a partner like Aaron, it's just a joy. So I'm very.
I will say that it is nice to make a movie with somebody you made a movie with before, because you do know each other's rhythms and what I mean, it's comforting as opposed to having to get to know everybody. And the most important relationship is the director and the actor. And so you're not coming into that cold. You have a relationship, and I think it helps the film out tremendously.
Sure. Yeah, no, totally. And it totally comes across too. Like I said, I really enjoyed this. I didn't know where it was going, and I just found, especially that whole last half, so intense. Like this could go any direction, but the road it took me on, I was all for it. I thought it turned out so good.
Were you able to stay for the little piece after the credits
Yep,
with the
I did
letters?
see that too. That was unexpected, and I was just like, "Oh, a post-credit scene, cool."
So disappointing because we had so many contractual producers on this. I said, "I'll just throw a couple of producer credits on and then have the sequence with the letters." But because of some contractual thing, it ended up being about 25 different producer credits. Like, oh, really? But I'm
Makes
so
sense.
glad you managed.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, no, I definitely saw it, and that was a cool little way to end the movie on. I loved that too.
Really,
Aaron, I
really.
want to
Well, it was
talk
a
to you
very,
about. Oh, sorry.
it's totally fine. Okay.
Aaron, I want to talk to you about the character you're kind of playing here, Frank, because he is such an interesting guy. I mean, like on the surface, he's very stoic. He's a very badass. He will get the job done. But I also think there's kind of like more to him than that. And it's really fun and interesting to watch you kind of like bring that out in your performance when you're playing this guy. So what drew you to this character the most when you were like reading the script for the first time? And did you
Well,
see any similarities between Frank and like some of the other characters you played in the past?
yeah, I think, as you're saying that, I think one thing comes out in my mind, which is his loneliness, this idea of living alone, living this life, sort of, that man that's, lost out there and on the prairie. And, you know, this is his life. And he doesn't, I mean, he has friends and everything, but he's isolated. And I sort of live that life myself, in real life. I live out on a ranch by myself, and um, it's an interesting dynamic for an older guy, because I'm 57 years old, and I guess he's the same age as I am. And so this idea of what you have in life at the later end of your life, who you are and what you have, and are you happy with it? How is your life? And um, relationships, are they meaningful, and do you want more? That kind of stuff I enjoyed about the script. This idea that, yes, he's a lawman, yes, he has a moral code, but also he has a soul and a heart. And is he being nurtured, and is he being fed, and does he want more? And I think a lot of men are out there in those similar or same circumstances where life just didn't go where they thought they were going to go, and maybe they have unrequited love, or they lost love, or whatever it is, and it takes a toll on a man. Loneliness takes a toll on a man.
Yeah. Yeah, no, totally. And again, I loved how this movie explored that and the different directions it goes. I thought it was really well done. Jesse, Thieves Highway is obviously a movie that is about cattle theft, and there's a line of dialogue like near the beginning where um someone's like half the country doesn't even know like that this is really a problem anymore. And I'll admit I'm from snowy old Michigan, so like I was not familiar with this like at all. But I love a movie that kind of opens up your worldview and exposes you to different issues and things you might not be aware of. So I'm kind of curious, was this topic like something you were familiar with before you started working on this movie? And what did you kind of learn about it all while you were making Thieves Highway?
Well, it 100% wasn't anything I was particularly familiar with before the movie, before the script, before reading it. And when I read the script, it resonated because it was something that I didn't think existed, and it was written by, as I say, J.D. Pepper with Travis Mills, who was an Arizona stock detective. I think he might have been an Arizona Ranger as well. And so it had those nuances, had those little details of real life in there, which really appealed to me. After doing a lot of research on this, not only Arizona but Oklahoma, Texas, where this is endemic, this crime, I realized this truly is something that not many people know about, and that's exciting for a filmmaker to find a script like that. And it's the little man, it's the farmer, it's the small farmer, the mom and pop business, the guys that have been there since their grandfather. They've built this farm is built on the blood, sweat, and blisters of three generations, and it's being taken away from them because there's very little you can do about these cattle rustlers. They're usually someone who worked on the farm at some point who now has a meth problem. They know where the gates are. They have a bucket of feed which they shake, and the cows run over to the gate. They put them on the back of a truck, and they're out of there. They're gone, and they've decimated this farm. They've destroyed it, and the farm won't recover in the same way. It's not as easy as saying that cow's worth 5 grand or 6 grand or 3 grand for a calf. It's not that easy because the farmer has put 10 years, 5 years, 7 years investment of his time and energy into that. So it's a very real crime. And I found that a stimulating backdrop to put an action movie against. It felt fresh, it felt different. And we're all looking for that. You're looking for, a story to tell that people haven't seen before. We're not wanting to make reworkings of the last popular action movie, but made at a lower budget. That's not what we want to do. I don't want to do, a shot that's a single take movie because Extraction did well, so I'm going to copy that. I don't. This is not where I want to be. I don't want to pay homage to films that are being made. I want to do something that has a grain of authenticity, of originality to it. Now, if it harkens back to the 1950s and 60s westerns, that's okay. But I enjoyed the script. I enjoyed learning about this world. I enjoyed the character, and I thought it would appeal to Aaron. And I'm so thrilled with the character that he created and that we captured on screen. And I'm proud of the movie.